The beautiful Jefferson River Valley in southwest Montana is home to more than the small rural communities and ranches that dot the landscape. There's abundant wildlife, world-class outdoor recreation, rich agriculture, and breathtaking beauty along the rivers and streams that flow from the high mountain peaks. But there is something else here, something many outsiders would think is way out of place: a gold mine. The locals here refer to it as the Sunlight, and the vast majority of them look at the Golden Sunlight Mine not as an eyesore, but a very strong, positive force for their communities. The attitude of "not in my backyard" does not apply to these residents. They know when mining is done right, everyone benefits, from the high-paying jobs, the development of their local infrastructures, the protection of their environment, and even the wildlife who live and prosper on Sunlight property. Now, this unlikely relationship didn't happen overnight. It began in the early 1980s when the mine was approved and construction began, and continued to develop throughout the years. The people of Whitehall immediately began to see the benefits of having their new neighbor in town. Golden Sunlight personnel became active in many community activities. From Habitat for Humanity to the local schools, the positive social effects of mining began to trickle down throughout the valley.
Oh, there was tremendous excitement. People were thrilled. I don't think they had ever had an industry anywhere near this magnitude in this community. Well, I know they haven't. It had been an agriculture community. It was great to see the community come together. They really welcomed the mine in. They were really excited and thrilled to have the jobs, and of course the mine tried to hire mostly local people, which I'm an example. I was one of the first ones hired in 1980. My dad was a rancher here. I was born and raised right here in Cardwell. My husband and I were 19 when we got married. We never dreamt that we'd be able to stay in this community. I was able to work there for 16 years, and my husband's been there for over 20. And we were able to raise our children, pay for college, braces, all kinds of things that a young couple thinks about when you first get married and have children. We were able to do that right here. So naturally, we're thrilled to have mining in our own backyard.
Everybody was glad. Going to be good paying jobs. Before it was just a little ranching community. There was nothing else in here.
Yeah, they give a lot to the town. When they first started, the school had problems, and they re-roofed the school down there, and they
playgrounds, new track.
They put a lot of money into the community,
There are environmental concerns with any industrial operation, and mining is no different. The process utilized at the Golden Sunlight Mine for gold extraction relies upon a diluted cyanide solution to free the microscopic gold from its host material. With the proper safeguards in place, containment and treatment of this solution poses minimal risk to the environment.
We have 12 leach tanks, each with a volume of about 400,000 gallons. They sit in a contained area, and the area is large enough to hold more than the full capacity of one tank in case we did have a tank rupture. Our tailings line that delivers the tailings slurry to the tailings impoundment is double lined, and we've got a leak detection system so that if there is a leak in the inner pipe, that's detected and a light flashes, and the crews that patrol the tailings line see that flash and know that we've got a problem, so we can get things shut down and repair any type of a leak that we might have. Our waste product from the mill goes to a tailing impoundment, and that's lined with the 60 mil HDPE synthetic liner. Underneath that is a natural compacted clay liner. We put a cyanide destruction process, the INCO process in 1998. Up until that time, we would send tailing slurries to our tailing impoundment facilities with cyanide levels in the range of about 230 parts per million. Since then, we now send tailing slurries to the tailings facility with cyanide levels as low as less than 1 part per million. Cyanide, just like gasoline, just like any acid, just like even water, if it isn't handled properly, can be a dangerous material. And if handled properly, is a very safe chemical.
It's eliminated just almost all the potential of that cyanide getting into the water. They've gone the extra mile to be sure that that cyanide is safe, and I don't feel threatened at all, not at all. They've been a great neighbor. I haven't had any problems with them whatsoever. They've just been a great neighbor to be down below, and I'm glad they're here.
The men and women who work at Golden Sunlight are very proud of their mine. They work together as a team to make this open pit operation as profitable as possible. Because when the mine succeeds, so do they. Jobs of this caliber are few and far between in southwest Montana. The Golden Sunlight's financial impact reaches way beyond the millions of dollars they pay in taxes annually. The mine provides safe, high-paying jobs to Montanans, jobs that raise families and build communities.
Oh yes, I am very proud. I'm proud to be a miner, and I'm proud to be a miner in Montana. I'm proud of our reclamation. I'm proud of our mine. Oh man, this job has been great. I'm a single mom with 2 kids, and it's letting me raise my children without being a welfare mother or anything. It's given me a job with benefits and insurance, and enough to get by, enough to get ahead a little bit and plan and have a family.
Oh, you have to have these jobs. Tourism isn't gonna support a state this size as far as the services that people want, you know, the taxes and everything and to require to keep these type of services going. You need good high-paying jobs, or it's not going to work. I've been out here since the mine started in 1982 November, and it's been a great job. We've pretty well accomplished all our goals that we wanted as a family, and so it's been real good for us.
I mean, it's a no-brainer, really. I mean, look at the money we're making up here, the benefits we make up here. I'm not going to find that anywhere else. The job market, there isn't anything. Before I came here, I was working construction, so I was running around quite a bit, you know, booming from town to town. And this way I've got to stay home with my kids, had the weekends off mostly, and got to be with my family instead of just working for my family. When this place closes, I'm going to have to move out of state to go find another job that'll pay anything comparable to this, you know. Thankfully, it won't be for many years. I'm getting up to that retirement age, so I can only have to do it for 4 or 5 years. But in that respect, it's let me and my wife just stay in our community and grow with it, you know. I've been fortunate.
Just in the year 2000, over $200 million spent in just wages to workers. So when you have workers and jobs, you have school clothes for kids, they have homes, they can eat well, they just add everything to our economy. They can recreate, they can stay in this state, and that's the real benefit of the mining jobs. The people that run the mine, I trust the people. They want to do what's environmentally right. They treat their workers well. To the town of Whitehall, they're intricately involved in the community. The people are like family. I can't say enough about the good people that work at and run Golden Sunlight Mine.
Mining is a finite business, and closure is an inevitable phase that each operation must carefully plan and prepare for, both environmentally and socially. Since it began operations, Golden Sunlight has conducted concurrent reclamation activities when areas of mining were completed. But in 1999, a major reclamation program was implemented when the mine was faced with dwindling reserves, falling gold prices, layoffs, and an early closure. Engineers were faced with a number of challenges when designing this reclamation plan. Steep slopes, potentially acid-generating material, and the wildlife habitat were among the subjects to be addressed. By working together with state and federal regulatory agencies, the most extensive, thorough, and far-reaching environmental reclamation program ever in Montana's mining history has been underway for several years.
Actually, what we were faced with was about 400 acres of topography that varied from 200-foot slopes to 700-foot slopes. And we had an enormous amount of material to deal with. We resloped approximately 25 million yards of dump material just to get the base for our dirt and our reclamation. Originally, we had a criteria that gave us 2 feet of an oxide material and then an additional 2 feet of soil. Once we got into the job, we felt that 3 feet of soil was actually a better cover. You know, it gave the plant system more material to root into, and it was actually a better buffer for surface moisture and whatnot to keep it out of the old material. We've got a lot of natural plants coming in now, and our seed mix is predominantly geared for the natural plant selection so that this stuff is going to grow and it's going to keep growing. It really is all an above board approach to being a good citizen and being responsible for the disturbance that we create. Our goal is 100% success.
Initially, the steep slope reclamation was a concern between the BLM, the DEQ, and Golden Sunlight, in the sense that people hadn't done reclamation on steep slopes before. So some of the west slope reclamation that was done, 10, 12 years ago was new work. Nobody had done anything like that. So, and I think Golden Sunlight and the agencies have both learned from that, in the sense that we, if conditions are right, you can reclaim steeper slopes. There are still issues that you can't say you can reclaim all steeper slopes, but at least at Golden Sunlight, they've been fortunate in the material they've got to work with. It takes us working together collectively to really oversee the entire scope of the reclamation work, to see that it's progressing like it should. And we have to work together in the sense that we need to present to the public a coherent story from the regulatory standpoint, as well as from Golden Sunlight's standpoint. Having permitted the mine, we're all in it together, so we have to work to make it as good as it can be. It's a work in progress in every sense of the word.
The Golden Sunlight mine was winding down after 21 years of mining. A small underground operation began in 2002, and 2 portals were sunk in the bottom of the open pit. Though the resources were limited, the rich veins of ore were worth the effort. Contract miners were brought in to mine these deposits using traditional underground drilling and mucking machines. At the same time, the open pit was mining out the last of its ore in somewhat tight quarters. The end of the Golden Sunlight was rapidly approaching. The mill was scheduled to run off stockpiled ore until late 2003, then shut down. Whitehall and the mine had been developing plans on how to transition the community from a mining-based economy once operations ceased. Town meetings were held and people's comments were heard, and a task force was developed to pursue future economic development for the community.
Looking at the eventual future as the ore does play out, we're looking at things like the industrial park project that we're working here. And that's been a real partnership between the Golden Sunlight and the community. And I think most of the people realize they had a pretty good quality of life here with the mine, and they wanted to look at how do you replace that employment opportunity as well as the tax base. And I think it's actually a bigger picture than that. When you look at Golden Sunlight Mine as a subsidiary of Placer Dome, they have what they call a sustainability policy. And part of that is it's a 3-pronged stool. They look at the social impacts, the economic impacts, and the environmental impacts. What they try to do is make sure that as mining comes to a close, that they leave the community in just as good, or if not better shape as when they were here. If you think about mining, and you look at the history of mining, it's been pretty much an extractive industry that they came in, got their ore, and left. And a lot of times didn't do a very good job of that. The mining culture has changed, and I think Golden Sunlight is demonstrating they're at the tip of the spear in the new mining culture. If you don't do it right the first time, though, you're never going to have the opportunity to do it in the future. I think the environmental aspect, people are becoming more and more aware of the consequences of not doing it right. And that's been a real focus of the Golden Sunlight, is we've got to do it right. We've got to make sure that people believe in what we're doing up here, and that we have a good reputation.
Then it happened. Gold prices rose from $270 to over $400 an ounce. A proposed expansion of the existing open pit was given the go-ahead, and the mine had a projected 5-year extension of profitable mining. The news spread fast. The workers were elated, and the town of Whitehall breathed a sigh of relief.
I think everybody's been extremely pleased with the additional workforce that's come on board, and the expansion through this 5B. I think it's been fully supported. you know, and the impact of that locally, just from a job standpoint, is tremendous. So you get that impact as well as you get the contractors that they've employed. There's a lot of local contractors that they've used that live here. They're buying equipment locally. So there's a huge trickle effect on something like this.
When mining finally does conclude, the legacy of the Golden Sunlight Mine will be one of environmental stewardship and community awareness. Throughout the life of the mine, projects aimed to improve wildlife habitat and recreational opportunities in the Jefferson Valley have been ongoing. The mine purchased the scenic Candlestick Ranch and has worked with state wildlife officials and local sportsman groups to enhance wildlife populations in the area, while leaving the ranch open to outdoor recreation enthusiasts. The Piedmont Swamp near Whitehall was also purchased by Golden Sunlight to protect and enhance this valuable wetland area. In addition to several wildlife projects, a fishing and swimming pond is being constructed at Piedmont to provide local families a place to relax and have some fun.
They have been a good neighbor. They've always been willing to work with the department or the Sportsman Association here in the Jefferson Valley on whatever type of projects dealing with fisheries and wildlife. It's been a good working relationship. Golden Sunlight Mine has been a very positive landowner in the effect that they are willing and open to the public use on their property that they can outside of the mine area, which is allowed for public hunting and other recreational value to the general public. It's hard to get them to say no when asked to help sponsor things, so I know this community really appreciates it.
When mining is done right, everyone benefits. That's why the men and women of the Golden Sunlight are so proud to be here. They have proven that the development of Montana's natural resources can be a win-win situation. The local environment has been protected. The wildlife populations on the mine's property have thrived. Families have been raised and kids sent to college. And the little ranching community of Whitehall, well, it's a much better place, with high-quality schools, good-paying jobs, a very low crime rate, and a bright economic future. Over 20 years ago, the people of the Jefferson Valley welcomed their new neighbor. As for today, most would say they made a very good decision.